Welcome to Qwerty Writing Life Podcast, where we have candid chats about our creative lives. This is May.
And I'm Joy.
For more information about our podcast, monthly newsletter, or author resource series, visit us at QwertyWritingLife.com. That's Qwerty, spelled Qwerty.
It's the first 6 letters on your keyboard.
So, are you ready? Grab your tea.
Or your coffee. And let's chat.
Hello, everyone. It's another week.
Hello and welcome.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about what to expect with Season 3. But not only that, we're going to talk about the process that we used to come up with these new changes. But before we do that, let's talk about our creative weeks. Joy, what did you do?
Oh, wow. I have been busy this week. So I've had lots of fun creative things going on that I'm super excited about. I got to put together the PDFs and some other things for 4 teen creative writing workshops that I'm going to be leading for my local library as part of their summer reading. So I hope all of you guys are going to be part of your summer reading at your libraries. This year's theme is Tales and Tales. So T-A-L-E-S and T-A-I-L-S. So I'm pretty excited about it. So that was part of my week. And then another thing is I've started drafting the last part of One Good Thing. So, I finished up Every Good Thing last week. This week I started on finishing up One Good Thing. So give me a couple more weeks and hopefully that one will be knocked out too. And just lots of next level businessy stuff, both for podcast, yay, and just my author stuff. So lots of learning and thinking and planning when it comes to marketing and what I can be doing better, what I can be doing at the next level, because it's time for that, I feel like, across the board. So that has kind of been my creative week. So what about you, May?
Oh man, it's been next level for me too. Yeah. So we've been doing this podcast for 2 years. We're going into our 3rd season. Okay. But not only that, that's kind of when our author lives took off as well. So this is going kind of into our 3rd season of our author lives. And so I've got the final draft of the formatting for the poetry book sitting on my computer right now. When we get through recording this episode, I'm going to type up all of the notes and get it to the formatter, and that should be like the last iteration before I can put it on the internet, which is super scary and also super satisfying too. Whew, it's a lot. So I've been doing that, and I've been doing a lot on the day job too. So I've been working about 10 hours on the day job and then being a mom. And then after the kids go to bed and the husband's lived on for a little bit, I'll go be an author. And so it's been a lot. I really need a nap. When this is done, I'm going to cleanse my palate on Joy's short story collection and just enjoy that as a reader and as a critiquer, because it exercises a different place in your brain, and it relieves the parts that you've been using, and it stimulates the parts that you haven't been using. And so content editing is my jam. I really love it. So it will be exciting to get to that and then get that back to Joy as soon as possible. Aww. So that's what I've been doing.
Also you did your cover reveal this week. Mm-hmm. Totally took me by surprise, y'all. I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm like, I know that book. I was like, oh, I do know that book. So be sure to head over to her social media and check out the cover for Grief Like a River. It's gorgeous.
It's really pretty. I enjoy it. I did a picture of the front, and I also showed the back too with the teaser on the back, so you can see what it's about. It's a little bit heavy, but I do give your brain space to breathe with the illustration and a lot of white space too. So I tried to be mindful about that, and it turned out really nicely, I think.
I agree. 100%.
Great.
That's awesome.
So let's tell everybody what we're going to be doing with season 3 for Qwerty Writing Life, and then we'll talk about the process.
Yes. Okay. So first of all, let's start about what's the same, because if you guys are like us, like we don't really like the whole change thing. So let's stick with what we know first and build ourselves up to the what's different. Okay. So first of all, you're still going to get candid chats about our creative lives.
You get the truth, folks, because we don't know how to tell it any other way.
That is the truth.
We are also going to commit to another season of quality content for you. So we're not just going to get on here and talk about nothing. We know that your time is very valuable, and our time is valuable too. Like, we want to put good quality, meaty content into the world, and we want you to benefit from it. So we promise not to do anything that's not going to hopefully grow you and share our experiences too.
And then we are still going to be putting out our monthly newsletter. And this is something that we just started not long ago. I think we're coming up on the 4th month of putting that out. So,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you guys can find, if you have not subscribed yet, you can always find the link for that to do that in the show notes. And we actually were just talking about some fun things that we're planning for that newsletter. So lots of good things coming. And most importantly, we want it to be a way that you can continue this conversation that we're having. Yes, this is a chat between May and me, whenever we record, but it's not just that. This is also a conversation that we're having with you. And so we want to hear your thoughts. And the newsletter is a great way to do that because it hops in your inbox only once a month, and you can just hit reply and let us know what you're thinking or what's going on with you creatively. So that's kind of the goal there.
Yeah, super simple.
Yeah.
And finally, the things that are the same are joy in me.
Woohoo!
We haven't changed.
Nope. Except to grow better with age, much like a fine wine or an aged scotch.
Or Gilmore Girl reruns.
Okay, that too.
Because they're awesome.
All right, so now it's time for what's different. And don't get scared. Don't run away. I think these are good things.
Yeah, I think so too. So Joy and I wanted to do something special for you guys by giving you more author resource series books. And we started looking at our lives and we were like, well, you know what? There's no more time in a day and we are no good at multiplying time. So
haven't worked that one out yet.
I haven't either. If there's some sciencey person out there who can learn how to do that, that would be great.
Yeah.
But
we will beta test.
Yes, we will totally beta test. But until then, what we have to do is maximize the time that we have. And so that's why we decided to move from one episode of podcast a week to 2 episodes a month. So we will be changing from a weekly podcast to a semi-monthly podcast. So you'll get 2 quality content, meaty episodes a month. And we'll still stick with our time-sensitive episodes. So it'll be 30 minutes or less. But we will be able to service you in that way, but also be able to service you in other content mediums. And we're excited about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So on that note, we have a few things that we're starting that we hope will just enable you guys to be in touch with us in much easier ways. Okay. So first of all, we have a new email address, and this one will be hopefully easier for you guys to remember than what we've had in the past, and it will get straight to us, and that is QwertyWritingLife@gmail.com. So that is our email address. It's the same name as the podcast, so it's pretty easy to remember. And you can send us a message anytime you want, not just when you get our monthly newsletters. So.
Mm-hmm. For sure. If you end up having a question that you'd like us to address on the podcast, that would be wonderful. But also, if we choose not to use it as a podcast episode, we'd be happy to answer that on a one-on-one basis just so that we can get you the information that you need individually.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of cool. Something else that we're doing is that we're reaching out through Instagram. So we have created a Qwerty Writing Life Instagram page, and it is at Qwerty Writing Life. Surprise, surprise. So the link will be in the notes too. Yeah, that's super simple, just like our email address, QWERTYWritingLife@gmail, and also at Qwerty Writing Life for our Instagram page. That's the only social media platform we're going to be on right now. We're just going to see how that works out and how you guys respond to it before we branch out to anything else. And we just want to make sure that we're using our time in the best way possible. So if you are interested in speaking with us and you're an Instagrammer, then just DM us or comment on any of our posts and we'll be happy to get in contact with you there.
Yep, that works. And the third thing that we're adding is a website that will be QWERTYWritingLife.com. You can find us there, and that's where everything will be. That will kind of be the hub. So if you're not on Instagram, for example, you can simply go to our website, QWERTYWritingLife.com. You'll find ways to get in touch with us. Our email address will be there. The way to subscribe for our newsletter will be there. You know, all of these things will be in that one place. And it will just be a little bit more user-friendly and just a fun place to hang out. So that's where we'll be.
So why all the changes? I know that change is hard for everybody, but we just really want to give you more types of Qwerty Writing Life things. The first reason why is because we've maxed out on all of our time that we have to devote to Qwerty, but we want to produce more content in other mediums for you. So how do we do that? We reallocate the time that we have and we maximize it. So Joy and I are still going to be meeting every week. We're just going to be recording podcasts on 2 of those weeks, and the other 2 weeks we will be working on our author resource series, or we'll be working on an audiobook, or we'll be working on et cetera, et cetera. So,
exactly.
So we have a lot of ideas and we want to be able to share those ideas with you guys and really get you the content that we have in our heads. We want to put that in our hands.
Yeah, exactly. And this will also open up that time that we talked about earlier to chat directly with you via these things that we just mentioned, our Instagram, our email, and our newsletters. You know, we want to be able to be there to continue these chats that we begin in the episodes and just do that directly with you guys, okay? Yeah. So those are kind of the whys for these changes.
And if you listened last week, you heard that we have outlined 3 more books for the author resource series. So we're kind of itching to get to finish those up and really make something special out of those.
This will open up the time for us to be able to get those things done a little bit more quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for you guys, or what can you take from this, I guess, is the best thing? Because we didn't want to just, tell you what we're doing and leave it at that. We want you to have something that you can take from this episode that will hopefully help you in your creative life and in your endeavors.
Yeah. So do you need to reevaluate or reallocate, maximize your time in some creative area of your life? Is that something that you might need to do?
Yeah. What goals or plans have you potentially been putting on hold? Like, we've kind of been putting these books on hold and the audiobook for Finders Keepers and some other things like that. So what have you been putting on hold?
And can you adjust your other projects to accommodate one of those other goals? So is there something that you've been doing repetitiously on routine for a while that maybe you want to change or do something differently with in order to make this goal a reality? And that's kind of where we were. We were like, we're doing this podcast, we're doing it well, we're enjoying it, but there are these other things too that are tugging at our desire strings. So yeah.
So here are a few things that we considered when we were making this decision. First, we revisited our Qwerty goals. Do we still want to write an author resource series? Yes. Do we still want to podcast? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still want to develop stronger relationships with you?
Yep.
Yes. And do we still want to do all the things? Oh my goodness gracious, yes.
Yes. That's a big, big yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we also looked at our time habits and we found that there was absolutely no time to allot to any other place in our lives, which really puts a boundary and a limitation to the very first thing that we were talking about, all the yeses.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that we knew that we had to reallocate the time that we were doing for the podcast to other QWERTY Writing Life things is because we evaluated our time habits and we just, looked at our time blocking and to see if there was just any other space that we could put a little extra QWERTY time. And with all of our responsibilities, with our family, with our jobs, with our other endeavors that we have, it just really wasn't possible. And we really do spend about 4 hours a week doing the podcast. And then sometimes it takes even a little bit longer than 4 hours. So I would say it's probably about 4 to 6 hours a week on podcast things. And we really just think that we could use a few of those hours to finish some projects that we started.
Yeah, I agree. So we also revisited our QWERTY fundamental standards. We've talked about that before in the past. It's one of those books that we're looking forward to getting to. Mm-hmm. So we revisited our QWERTY fundamental standards to make sure these changes were not a whim, but upheld the values that were and still are important to us.
Mm-hmm. And last but certainly not least, we consulted each other. And funny enough, we came up with the same need and similar ideas as to how we could fill it. But we had to make sure with each other that we were both 100% on board before we could pass go. Yeah. And so if you have a creative partner or if you have a spouse or something like that and you want to reallocate some time, a partner, kids, family members that need you, job, that sort of thing, it's good to be open with them and say, you know what, I need this. And most likely if they are able to work it out, I'm sure that they would be able to be like, yeah, I can give you the thing that you need. Mm-hmm. And Joy was able to give that to me, and I was able to give that to Joy because we seem to always be on like this weird same wavelength when it comes to QWERTY and our author creative lives, where we were just feeling a little antsy after 2 seasons of podcasts. Like, what else can we do? What else how else can we get our hands dirty? And like, what else can we learn in order to share with you guys as well? So when you are looking at maximizing your time and evaluating your goals, then be sure to consider some of these things. Revisit your goals, look at your time habits, revisit your core values, and if there's anybody else who is affected by this decision, then you definitely want to talk to them as well.
Yeah, that's great. So that leads directly to a challenge. I mean, you guys knew it was coming. So our QWERTY challenge for you is that you consider each of these things that we've said, and we challenge you to consider how you could adjust your current time blocks to accomplish a goal you thought wasn't possible time-wise. So first, identify that goal. What is that thing? Then reevaluate the time that you have. Do you have some extra time, spare time under your couch cushions? Probably not if you're like us. So perhaps you can reallocate some of your time and maximize it. And, think through each of these things that May just reminded you guys of as you're going through this process. Thinking about your goals, making sure that this is part of your fundamental standards. Like, is this really the thing for you?
Yeah. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you're cool with the changes. And if you have any suggestions on how we can make this the best that it can be, then please email us at qwertywritinglife@gmail.com, and we will be happy to put your thoughts and words under consideration and also give you a note back.
Yep. So we hope you guys have a fantastic week.
And go make something.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope this episode encouraged you. Like all creatives, we thrive on consumer recommendations. So please consider leaving us a review and sharing our podcast with your creative friends.
If you'd like to continue this conversation, visit us on our website at QWertyWritingLife.com or on Instagram at QWertyWritingLife.